With the best of the best, we're going to be here so the rest could take a rest. Sean Carter, a.k.a. Jay-Z, once said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Show. This is episode number 100 and Deshaun, a.k.a. episode number 192. Once upon a time, former NBA guard Deshaun Stevenson wore the number 92. That was later in his career. Earlier in his NBA tenure, he wore the number 2 as a key member of the Washington Wizards. Yes, those same Wizards that featured Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton. And at the time, the mid to late 2000s, Deshaun Stevenson was considered a bitter rival of LeBron James. At the time, the Cavs and the Wizards were frequent postseason opponents. They had 3 straight years, in fact, where they faced off in the postseason. In the 2008 playoffs, Stevenson fouled LeBron so hard and with no remorse whatsoever. And it was called a flagrant foul. And LeBron fans were up in arms, including his good friend, or LeBron's good friend, Jay-Z, who recorded a song aimed directly at Deshaun Stevenson titled Blow the Whistle. Jay drops a line that says,
ask my nigga LeBron, it's so big we ain't gotta respond. When you talking to a Don, please have respect like you talking to your mom.
Which is funny because somehow Jay-Z thinks he's not too big to make a song. Never mind responding. Anyway, that happened. The so-called rivalry eventually died down. LeBron went on to dominate the league, left for South Beach, thought he was all done with Deshaun Stevenson, but nah. 2 former rivals reunited in the 2010 NBA Finals where LeBron's Heat and Deshaun Stevenson's Mavs faced off, and we all know how that turned out. Got his championship ring, meaning Deshaun Stevenson got his. I wonder if Jay-Z made a song about Stevenson's ring. Who knows? Actually, no, he didn't. Facts. Anyway, welcome to the show. My name is Ike Amaechi. I'm here with the guest, Stephen Leslie, Ugo the Sheik, and Sean Khan, a.k.a. Sean Controversy. Around here, we live by principle governed by the high and low lives of the world, which means we talk about basketball, especially and specifically the NBA, and we talk about it at any time, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high, and low. This week, we're sprinting around the NBA. So many topics to cover, some with a little more volume than others. We'll get into some NBA expansion talk with the impending introductions of teams in Vegas and Seattle. It's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. Feels like a no-brainer at this point. We're going to talk about the others, though, the other cities, not Vegas and Seattle. We also have a spirited listener question or comment about the Raptors. It's not a Raptors podcast. Specifically Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster and their incompetence. Let's just say that. And we're going to wrap up with some burning rapid-fire questions about many different things happening in the NBA, including some controversial scenarios that might set off cancel culture warriors, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. Before we lock in, let me check in.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Welcome back to the table, gentlemen, of the week. Not going to lie. I'm going to cut this one short because there's 3 of you, and we have quite a bit to get to, and we don't have 3 hours. I'll just ask, everyone feeling good? That's good? Good week?
Damn cold, man. Damn cold.
My body's sore.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Great. Ugo, Sean, Steven, I appreciate the time this week. Thank you for joining me. And listeners of the show, High and Low Lives of the World, thank you for joining us. Hope you're having a great week. And we're here for another week, another episode, because if there's more NBA, of course there's more high and low. Things are certainly happening in the NBA, which is why you have questions and we have answers. So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
This question is part of the reason why I had to go with Deshaun Stevenson as the intro here, because it felt so poetic. Because we have a listener question. We have a question from Deshaun in Richmond, Virginia. And his comment and question is this.
Knowing that some of you are Raptors fans, maybe you can answer this question. How are Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster able to keep their jobs when they fumbled so many potential trades and actual transactions? The Spurs deserve more credit for the Kawhi trade than Toronto, and then they lost Kawhi anyway. Fred VanVleet walked for nothing when they could have traded him for players or picks a year before. They waited too long to trade OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. They received assets, but much less than what they could have got months earlier. Masai Ujiri has been playing this game of NBA GM chicken since Denver, and now Toronto.
Wow.
How does he and Webster get a pass for being the architects of a bad team?
Woo. Tell him again, Deshaun. Wow. Go ahead.
Who wants to take this one first?
Since I'm not a Raptors fan, with all due respect, Deshaun, I know a man from Virginia isn't speaking on the Raptors situation. Because do you even have a team?
Yeah, they're getting the Wizards.
But do they have a team right now? No.
They're getting the Wizards.
And there are 10
That's a
NBA
good thing?
teams that don't have a ring. So the Raptors, Masai and Bobby, I think they can do whatever they want because they're cemented with a championship ring.
Do whatever they want. Okay.
When you're the first to do it, it's a wrap.
I think he kind of speaks to that when he says that the Spurs deserve more credit for that than Toronto.
Well, Spurs had no choice.
I've been talking about Pop. What did the Spurs, they haven't won anything since Duncan. So you get credit for what? For another team winning a championship?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you win a championship with that same player when you had
got
him?
Wemby now. You just have to wait 10 years.
You had to get rid of him. So. Another team capitalized.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay. So I think a lot of people have credited Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster for the Kawhi trade, putting together that Raptors team that won the championship. But I think this point he's trying to make is that Kawhi was the centerpiece of that team. And he was punted to Toronto out of spite when he could have gone to, there were rumors that he was going to the Clippers or to the Lakers. And they purposely, the Spurs purposely said, no, we're not sending you there. We're going to send you to Siberia. And did not expect, like that blew up in their face. They did not expect Kawhi to come up to Toronto and win a chip. Right? But all that to say is that was more of the Spurs' choice than Masai going out to get that transaction. You know what I mean? They just happened to be the recipients of something else that was bubbling somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, that's a fact. But after the fact, Kawhi hasn't had a ring after. So you have
Somebody
to credit.
had to make a choice.
You have to credit the management and the ownership of the Raptors to get the rest of the pieces together that they had, and they needed that one extra umph, and they got it. Like if anyone ever went to Masai and said anything like face to face, he would just show them the ring, and it's you have to shut up.
Unless you have more rings.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But Deshaun and Richmond, Virginia, they don't have rings or franchises. So, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Hugo.
Yeah, this is difficult because they're definitely not following NBA law or rules with these trades and these transactions. What I will say is, for I think more than a decade, the slogan in Masai We Trust has been tested over and over and over again, and he seems to be the last guy laughing, saying, "I told you so." But this time, it's really, really hard to think that, okay, Scotty Barnes is going to be that dude that's going to lead this team. Scotty Barnes is going to be a perennial all-star, is going to be, top dude in the league, as Darko likes to speak on him. So I don't see it now. Maybe they see something that we don't see. The other thing about the Raptors is we make really good NBA players for other teams. It's a fact.
Don't say that.
And
that means
we
that
do.
They're a farm team, man.
Well, we pretty much, like, for whatever reason, we have these dope players and we can't make a deep playoff run with them, but they go to other teams and fans, NBA pundits and analysts or whatever you want to call them are saying, hey, you guys got a really awesome piece. Yeah, now you could win a potential championship with that piece. Oh, it's like, really? But when they were all in Toronto it never worked, right? OG Anunoby is, analytically one of the best NBA defenders that in the league, top 2. Pascal Siakam and Kawhi were second most points by a duo in an NBA Finals. But somehow it doesn't work. I don't get it. Are we in Bizarro world or something? So let's see what happens with the Scotty Barnes era. I give them 2 years. If they can't right this ship in 2 years and start getting 50-win seasons and more than just play-ins, then basically the ACC is going to be burnt down to its foundation.
Yeah, I mean, I wish Mitch was here so I could sick him on this Deshaun guy, but
Whoa! What did you just say to me?
I did a lot of thinking about this one, and it kind of annoyed me. Seems like the listener is somewhat uninformed.
What did you say?
Let's just look at the whole big picture here. Keep in mind that Toronto is probably the least desirable destination for NBA players.
Not true.
They're bottom 3. I don't know.
Jason Tatum just the other day said that Toronto is top 2 city in the NBA.
Bro, we got baddies.
Well, free agent signings would say otherwise. They could literally put
or bad management.
That too.
Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
I don't know. I feel like a lot worse managers have signed a lot better players. They've put literally the best team on the court. They have quote unquote the best fans. They won a title and they still couldn't re-sign their star player. In the history of basketball, have you ever seen a star player not re-sign with the defending championship team with a clear shot to repeat? I think people don't understand the handicap that the Raptors organization deals with. I don't think there was anything Masai or Bobby could have done to prevent Kawhi from leaving. I think one of the first moves Masai made when he got here was fleecing the Knicks. He traded like a really trash burning on you for a first and 2 second rounders. The same listener criticized them for letting Fred walk, but then also criticized them for trading Pascal and OG before they walk. So I'm not really sure what he wants here. Like Quickly and Barrett are decent pieces, and 3 first rounders and Bruce Brown is a pretty decent haul for Pascal. Like, were there better deals on the table in the last year? Like apparently, but were they offered more than 3 first rounders for any one of those guys? I don't think they were. I think that's the best they could have done. There was no basement dwelling.
Terrible draft year, though. Terrible draft year.
I mean, they got 3 draft years out of Indiana, right?
2.
Okay.
And 2 of them are going to be in a terrible draft year.
Well, keep in mind, you call it a terrible draft year. Maybe you would have said the same thing when Pascal and OG were drafted at 23 and 27, or when Fred wasn't even drafted. You know what the Raptors excel at, and what they have excelled at under Masai's tenure is player development.
Oh, Grady Dick.
No, well, that's a draft, but I'm talking about development, and who knows, maybe they'd develop him too. But look where Lowry was before he came to Toronto, and DeRozan maximized every ounce of his potential when he was in Toronto. Both of those guys started in All-Star games, and the list of player development goes on and on. Under Masai's tenure, the Raps have been a consistent playoff team. They were a top 3 development franchise, and he brought a title to Toronto. So really, what more do you want from them?
I honestly agree with all your points. But hey, the Raptors have a great culture. Player development is solid. It's one of the best in the entire league.
They'll just develop, and then trade those first rounders and something else for someone who wants to leave another team, man. And just repeat and do that thing again.
Rinse and repeat, man.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do, but they just didn't do it.
Breakup is always ugly whenever you have to break up a championship core. I know, personally, because my team's done it 18 times. So.
Well, hey, the Raptors have one chip. There's some teams that have never won a title, ever.
Like Washington or Virginia.
Like the Wizards.
Whatever you want to call them.
The Bullets have won a title. No one's won a championship in Virginia, in the state of Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we're not taking shots at Deshaun. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. You guys have said some crazy things on this podcast. So I'm sure listeners have torn their hair out just listening to some of the things that we've said on this podcast. So
not me.
So we'll just chalk it up to, hey, your opinion is your opinion. Spicy one, man. I like it. It's not a top 5 ranking of high and low contributors, but hey, it's right up there with the spiciness. Deshaun, thank you for your question. Appreciate that. Maybe we'll ask Mitch for his opinion.
Was that a Spicy P reference there that you were using?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but
I was going to give you kudos, but that's creative.
I should have. I should have dropped that in there. Hey, kudos to you for thinking of Spicy P. Spicy.
All right, you guys, what's next?
Speaking of the Raptors, when they entered the league in 1996, they didn't come alone. They had a Canadian sibling in the Vancouver Grizzlies. I've shared some stories about that debacle and the part that Steve Francis played in Vancouver's demise as an NBA city. So I won't go into the details as to how and why they lost the team to Memphis. I've also talked about how and why the city of Seattle lost the Supersonics in 2008. Again, I won't get into that, but I will get into the concept of full circle, because now that the NBA is looking to expand for the first time in 20 years when the league reintroduced Charlotte to the fold, cities like Vancouver and Seattle have now been reintroduced, put in the forefront of these talks, along with Las Vegas and Mexico City for NBA expansion. And Las Vegas and Seattle have been the front runners, and all are but guaranteed to be the NBA's next expansion franchises, leaving cities like Vancouver and Mexico City in that spectator position. I mean, basically, there's so much money in both Seattle and Las Vegas, and the NBA loves money. It's a hard pill to swallow if you're in Vancouver, but hey, just as Academy Award winners or nominees are honored just to be nominated, Vancouver can see some positives in the fact that they were even considered after all that happened back in 2001. And it's been 20 years, the longest period of time the league has gone without expanding. So I'm sure there will be another round of expansion talks in the coming years. So Vancouver and Mexico City will be in the mix at that point, I'm pretty sure. So aside from the 4 cities I've just mentioned, why don't you guys make the case for expansion to a non-NBA city of your choice? Who else should the league consider and why?
I'm going to make the case for Belgrade, Serbia. I want
Serbia.
I want to show these soft NBA players what it's like to play in front of those crazy fans. I feel like a guy like Russell Westbrook would be broken so quickly. Over under 2 quarters until his sensitive ass quits basketball forever. I feel like if European expansion is on the radar for the NBA, Belgrade should be near the top of that list. Not many cities worldwide are as basketball crazy and have as much a history, a basketball history as Belgrade. We don't need another tired, recycled American city. Vancouver has had his chance. Montreal won't work. I'm not mad at Mexico City, but if I had to choose any city in the world without considering time difference and travel, I would go with Belgrade.
Wasn't the NBA thinking London if they were going to go to Europe?
I feel like that's a natural transition.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Isn't Russ from like Compton or South Central or something like that? Like, why would that scare him?
You listening to Sean still?
Man wears a dress. Like, why would he
the guy
be
gets
over there?
The guy cries about fans talking trash to him almost every game in soft American cities.
That's crazy. That's a crazy
wow.
statement.
Russ is gonna come after you.
That's a wild statement, bro.
That's crazy. Because Sean's the first one to talk about player safety, this and that. But the city I got is Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So, they bought Live Golf. Saudi has the F1 Grand Prix. Riyadh has Cristiano Ronaldo. They'll have LeBron, Bronny, and Bryce in 2028 playing on the Saudi Mecca Stars.
Amazing. Amazing.
That money goes long. That oil money.
These guys are all
Money
corrupt.
talks.
Wow. Okay. I actually did think about this one. So my first option would be Pittsburgh. I think that would be a very nice town to have an NBA team in. They have a baseball team. They have a really good legendary NFL team. And I think it would only make sense for them to, and a hockey team, sorry. But I think it only makes sense for them to get an NBA team, and then they'll cover all the four major sports. I did also think internationally, like my other two colleagues here. I was thinking Spain. I think that would be a great place to have a team.
That's
I think, Madrid, Barcelona, Madrid, wherever. I think logistically it would work well with the flights and whatnot. It might be a little bit more expensive, but I think in Spain and having fans, they're big basketball fans in Europe. Relatively easy for them to get there. I think you'd sell out easily. And then the other option, because this city also has quite a bit of money, and there'd be a huge following and a huge marketing opportunity, is Japan. It's terrible for for travel and time and whatnot, but man, like you can't go wrong advertising the NBA in Japan. Like they would just eat that all up, left, right, and center. So those are the three that I thought of.
Again, a country. So maybe Tokyo.
Mm-hmm. Tokyo, sure, whatever you want.
This man named countries.
Man, I say, listen, man.
This guy needs a geography lesson.
Yeah, stop.
Some of these countries are as big as a city, so who cares, man?
Does it? No, that's not who cares. He said city. You're not having Team Canada join the NBA.
Oh my goodness. You know that's how the Americans think too, right?
Okay. Interesting. We were talking about Deshaun, living in Richmond, Virginia, and you guys were casting aspersions, and
he ain't getting a team.
Virginia doesn't have a team, but Hampton Roads was at some point they were considered for a team, because we all remember the Virginia Squires. They were an ABA team back in the 70s. They were based in Norfolk, Virginia. So Virginia does have a basketball history. Professional basketball history. Hampton Roads, interesting.
Squires sound like the tropics. Like, what kind of name is Squires?
Yeah, they put in a proposal. Well, the Hampton Roads potential ownership group put in the proposal back in 2017 for an NBA team. Just a quick reminder to High and Low Lives: if you want to leave a question for us to answer on the show, send your DM to us on TikTok at More High and Low, or on Instagram at Get High and Low. Links are in the show notes as usual. So we're going to take that break. When we come back, we're taking rapid transit around the league with a speed round of questions and opinions. Some of these might land us in trouble. Some of these guys, I don't know. It depends on how they answer the questions. These people, these cancel culture warriors, man, they're all over the place, just waiting for you to trip up, fumble, and stumble. Anyway, find out when we come back. This is a High and Low basketball show.
This moment is brought to you by High and Low listeners. Lambeau in Milwaukee, Wisconsin shared his top 5 non-NBA cities based on his own opinion. Starting with number 5, Lambeau chose frontrunner and NBA front office favorite Las Vegas. Number 4 is Montreal. Beautiful city in the summer, but unbearable in the winter. Number 3 is San Diego, former home of the Clippers. Lambeau's number 2 pick is the Starbucks capital of the world, Seattle.
Drum roll!
The top non-NBA city is Green Bay, obviously. Cheeseheads are good enough for the NFL, so they're more than good enough for the NBA. Great list, Lambeau. Thanks for sharing your top 5 this week. Now let's dive back into the High and Low NBA show.
And we are back. I'm Ike Amaechi, and they are Ugo the Sheik, Sean Controversy, and the guest, Stephen Leslie. I have 12 burning questions, gentlemen. We have 12 minutes, maybe. Let's get into it. First question is for the guest. Talked about our top 5 favorite players of all time last week, so this is a good one for you to answer, since you didn't have a chance to chime in last week. Who are your 3 favorite players in the NBA? Not necessarily the 3 best, but just your 3 favorite.
Right now. Anthony Edwards is one. I saw him dissing Kawhi the other day. snatching bodies. Tyrese Halliburton, number 2. He's a walking double-double, and he's embarrassed Milwaukee Bucks on 3 occasions and has Giannis his game ball. And number 3, Sean, is Westbrook. Because even from the bench, he's cussing the guy that got Draymond Green suspended. And that's the energy we need.
2 or 3 ain't bad.
Crazy.
What does that mean?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Like what?
I agree with 2 of your picks.
No,
2 out of 3, yeah.
It's not about you agreeing.
Well, Sean, speaking of bench players, who is the best bench player in the league?
So, Pat Bev is plus 70 off the bench, which is way better than probably 8 or 10 of like the top 15 favorites. Tim Hardaway is plus 20. Austin Reeves is minus 128. He deserves to be in that discussion.
Austin Reeves?
Pat Bev.
Sorry,
Whoa.
Pat Bev?
Pat Bev
I missed that
deserves
part.
to
Sorry,
be in
you
that.
said Patrick Beverly?
Patrick Beverly is a plus 70 or 80 off the bench this year. He deserves to be in that conversation, and he's not. And it's a crime. People are in love with points, and there's other aspects of the game that people need to consider as well. And
What, like he's usually on the court when the game is already done?
That's not true. That's definitely not true.
Ugo, who has the best signature shoe in the NBA?
Well, that's a really good question. I had to do a bit of research on this, and I had to settle on the Booker ones, man. Those Booker shoes. There's some nice, pretty shoes, and they're really pretty in orange. So I got to go with the Book one. They're pretty.
Booker has great style. Great style.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised to see that his shoe is at the top of your list. The guest, Stephen Leslie, who is the one NBA player everyone needs to just give up on?
All right, so collectively, we're giving up on 8.7 assists a game and a broken hand. Might be the worst stick of glue I've ever seen. We need to get Chris Paul's ass out of here.
Can't disagree. Sean, speaking of Golden State, Chris Paul's teammate, should Steph Curry leave Golden State and chase another ring?
Hell yeah, why not? This idea of loyalty to teams is stupid. Like, teams aren't loyal to players, so
facts.
I think it'd be entertaining as hell to watch Steph team up with another All-Star or 2 in a different city. I'm all for it.
LeBron.
Nice. Relax. Okay, you go. So buy, sell, and liquidate. Who are you going to do it for? Between the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Warriors, the teams of California.
Listen, if you have an opportunity to buy the Lakers, like, you got to do it. Like, it's just on so many levels. You just have to do it. Even God will be knocking on your door to get like courtside tickets. Like, you got to do it. Like, that just that puts you in a different plane of existence. Like, when we're talking the multiverse, like, that's a gateway to a different universe altogether. Sell Golden State Warriors. They're in there. They've been paying a lot of luxury tax, so they're probably trying to get some of that loot back. But the franchise is extremely valuable right now. I don't know what's going to happen when Curry, Clay, Dre, all them guys leave. It'll probably drop in value. So this is probably peak dollars that you're going to get for it. And the Clippers, I'm a liquidate. All those guys are older stars. The franchise is still, somewhat valuable. It's all in the same arena as the Lakers, so I don't have to like build the infrastructure twice. Liquidate it and run it like Donald Sterling, but just with a little bit more empathy, and hire a coach that's like a Ted Lasso and let people enjoy the story.
Damn.
There you go.
Okay. Stone cold.
Oh.
Right. Okay. So I promise we're getting close to the spicy ones. Getting close. Hey, let's take a quick break before we get ourselves canceled. Or get yourselves canceled. We'll be right back with more High and Low.
All right, you guys, what's next?
And we are back. Got 6 more burning questions Let's get into it, gentlemen. The guest, Stephen Leslie. This one's for you. Indiana Pacers or Toronto Raptors?
Listen, this is the second best Pacers team since Paul George, Hibbert, and Stevenson. They tricked us. So it's Pacer Nation.
All right. Sean. Hey, All-Star voting is well underway, as we all see. NBA All-Star Game is set for February 18th, 2024. So it's a lot of All-Star talk coming. So name one player who will likely be snubbed from the Eastern All-Stars.
I couldn't narrow it down to one player, but I'll narrow it down to one team, and that is the Orlando Magic. I feel like Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner both deserve a look, but I think they're going to split the vote because they both play like a forward, and neither of them will get in.
And while you're at it, what about the West? Who's going to get snubbed in the West?
The West was a lot more difficult. It's a lot more players to choose from. I mean, like, as awesome as he is, like 80 is probably on the bubble just because the Lakers are at 500. Zion and Brandon Ingram might be on the bubble. Markkanen, who's playing amazingly, won't even get considered. But I think if we're talking about like a pure snub, it might be Devin Booker, just because his team doesn't have a great record. They're underachieving, and he's missed 10 games.
Hey, Ugo, what's your favorite part of the NBA All-Star Weekend?
It used to be it flip-flops between dunk contest and three-point contest. Three-point contest has been a little bit more consistently exciting. Dunk contest has been a yo-yo. But mind you, when the dunk contest sucks, it is fun to watch Barkley and the rest of them rip on everybody who does some whack moves out there. So, those are the two that I look at. Everything else is just a waste of my time.
All right. Well, time for some fun. Question for the guest, Stephen Leslie. Could the worst player, let's just say, for example, Grady Dick, could the worst player in the NBA beat the best player in the WNBA in a 1v1? Let's just say Breanna Stewart or Asia Wilson.
Well, this question is ridiculous. 3 points per game, 30% shooting. I think he'd get down by both Stewart and Wilson.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's not a game to them.
Goodness gracious.
Bro,
what is this now?
They wouldn't even make a high school team.
What? Who? What?
Those WNBA women would lose to like high school teams.
But this is 1v1. They've played high school already. They've done college.
They're not beating any NBA guy. They're like we're talking about like the 1,200 best players, and like there's 1,200 men that are probably better than them in the world.
That may be the case.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
That may be the case, but they're beating Grady Dick. I'm telling you this.
he's the only one.
Anybody but
I'm just
that
saying,
guy.
there's a big physical difference between men and women. Even the size difference. Like Grady Dick he probably looks small on an NBA court, but he'd be like the tallest player in the WNBA.
It don't matter. He's whack. Man.
Bro, he's still on an NBA roster. He played.
Better be doing layups.
And
Better
why
be
is
doing
that?
layups because if he takes a shot, he's done.
No, he's on a roster. Why? Because a
he
certain
got
team
high
picked
draft
him.
pick. Yeah.
No other
just
team is
saying,
picking him.
There's players in the minor leagues and NCAA that are way better than the best player in the WNBA. So,
yeah,
I mean, let's be real about this.
That may be the case, but they are dicking
not
this
Grady
boy
Dick.
down, bro. Look at this guy. Look at him. You look at him and you're like, bro, this is food. I'm eating this guy up.
Oh, gosh.
You ever seen Love and Basketball? That's happening, bro. They're gonna, and you know what? They'd cross him too. That's what makes it sad.
Why is it
You
sad
already
if they
have a
cross it?
vision. You
Because
already have a vision in your head. Eh? You
Yeah.
know how this is exactly going to go down.
Just bang, bang, step back, pop, 7.
I don't want to like talk too much about other sports, but like it was John McEnroe called Serena Williams the 700th best tennis player in the world.
Oh, gosh.
And it's true. Like it's very true.
Stop throwing shade at Serena. She didn't do nothing to you.
It's not
Don't beat
shade.
you up.
It's not shade to say someone's the 700 best at something in the world. I'm not 700
She
best at
gonna
anything
beat-
in the world.
She gonna beat you up.
All right, well, Hugo, let's see what you think here. If the best player in the WNBA were to play in one NBA game versus, let's say, the Detroit Pistons, what would her stat line look like?
10 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Asia Wilson can walk onto an NBA court, score 10 points.
Yeah.
2 rebounds.
I mean, she'll probably get half of it at the free throw line. I'd give her a 3 in an easy bucket on a cut, on a backdoor cut. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Possible.
Okay.
It's a team sport. She gets a pick. Somebody sets her free. Boom. I trust her to make some buckets.
They could hit some middies.
Yeah.
Especially if they call some plays for her.
Yeah, I'll give her 10.
What about like a one-on-one situation, like ISO situation? Is she scoring?
I just answered that.
I know.
You weren't listening?
I want to hear someone else answer it because your answer was wrong.
Well, listen, if she's got space to shoot, I mean that's the beautiful thing about basketball. Like if you got space to shoot, right? So if she can shoot and she can get herself free one-on-one, that's one thing. I mean, it's not like she's going against like Manute Bol or something like that out there. You know what I mean? So,
Sean,
you know?
I've seen guys like you do this before. It was a show called Pros versus Joes. And the girls whoop the man 90% of the time in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the same show and I did not see the same thing. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, Grady Dick is 6'6", 205. Brianna Stewart is 6'4", 170 pounds. But she's a 2-time MVP.
And he would toy with her.
No.
So if Grady Dick was in the WNBA, you think he'd be the best player in the league?
His name would be Grady Vagina, first of all.
Wow. Listen, the minute you asked that question, I was like, here it comes.
Wow.
Here it comes. This guy gonna get canceled before the podcast done.
Never mind. And on that note,
I'm done.
We're done.
Why the I can't shoot 3-point shots?
That brings us to the end of this episode of the High and Low Basketball Show. I hope you enjoyed this one. Some interesting, spicy answers. Hey, man, we're on the road to episode 200. We're going to get there. We're going to get there very soon, man. Hey, thank you, Ugo. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Steven. Remember to subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts. Make us part of your weekly routine. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on X. We're on YouTube. Links to those are on the show notes. So where can listeners find you, Sean?
I'm going to go into hiding because I don't want Russ or anyone in the WNBA to find me.
All right. Good call. And Steven, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram at Esteban_Roy, ESTEBAN_ROY.
Nice. And Ugo the Sheik, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm gonna scrub my identity, man, so I'm not associated with the foolishness that came out of people's mouths tonight, man. Grady, I can't even repeat it. Grady, what?
Yeah, don't repeat it.
I thought I said some crazy stuff, but man, this guy.
Once again, music is by Live, the Enjoy Music Group. You can find Live on X and on Instagram at LYVE. Additional music is by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. Sound design is by Vaughn August. This is a Vaughn Abraham podcast, just in case you didn't know. So on behalf of the guest, Stephen Leslie, on behalf of Sean Controversy, Ugo the Sheik, I'm Ike Amaechi. Thank you for listening to High and Low, and we'll talk to you next week.
In Masai, we still trust.